Welcome to graded week 4 here at Royal Oak High School in the orchestra classes. This week we are talking about harmonizing your melodic lines using inversions and parallel thirds. So for starters, as you might have expected, I'm going to need you to sign into your NoteFlight account. Perhaps you've already done so, and if so, fantastic. If you have not, hit pause, do that, and come on back. All right, welcome back. So let's go on with this. Now, when I say harmonizing, in case you're saying, well, what does this word harmonizing mean? It's the act of adding a harmony to a melodic line. You harmonize something, you're adding a harmony to a melody. The melody is the main line, the tune, the thing that the people will hum, and then the harmony is all the other notes, the B line, if you will. The additional parts, the B line, C line, D line, E line, if you will, that make the melody sound all the more impressive. And what follows are just a couple of the approaches that people can take to harmonizing a melodic line. So there you are. So part 1, where we learned about inversions. So first of all, the word inversions, the root of it is to invert, to put something upside down, basically. Put it upside down or in the opposite position, order, or arrangement. So if your interval is between the notes A and C right above it, you invert it, and then you get the A and the C below it, which means that suddenly instead of being from like A going up to C, it's from C going up to A. That's an inversion, and we're going to be talking about that now. So my scores. What I'd like to do is have you guys open up the most recent assignment, that is to say, the one about intervals, cleverly titled About Intervals. And when this pops up, there we are. And I had left it this far. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what I had hoped you had done with the previous assignment was to not just label perfect unison and major second, but also major third, and like so. Move this up a bit. Major. No, not major. What am I saying? Haha. Perfect fourth. Perfect fourth. Perfect fifth. Major sixth. Major seventh. Perfect octave. I don't know if anybody noticed this, but with a major scale on the way uphill, you've got major intervals, major second, major third, major sixth, major seventh. On the way downhill, in reverse order, from the C down to the B, minor second. From the C down to the A, minor third. Perfect fourth, perfect fifth. From the C down to the E, that's going to be a minor sixth. From the C down to D, that's going to be a minor seventh. And then here, the perfect octave. So the handy way of remembering the intervals is if you're starting with the root note of a scale, major, major, perfect, perfect, major, major. On the way downhill, minor, 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 like there. I would label all this, but we don't have time for that. If I did this, it would take up another 8 minutes of video. Nobody needs that. The intervals, major third, minor second, back to major second, minor second, perfect fifth, all those good things. Label all those, and you have just what you need. Now, what I would like you to do, now that you've got this thing opened, I would like you to do this. We're going to add 8 measures to the end. So select the last measure. Up here, add measure after. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right. Now we're going to add a double bar right here. Double bar. And just like we did up here, rehearsal letter, which you can either go with this. Oh, actually, this is the way to do it. A, or in this case, B, right? Now, let's see. I would like to put this back in the same tiny signature as what you had before. So we're going to highlight the whole section, all 8 measures. I clicked this, I held the shift button down, I clicked this, bam, all 8 measures selected. Let us make that 2-4 once again. So click the time signature button. This goes down to 2, hit OK. There it is. All right, so you've done all that. Now that this is all taken care of, I would like you to copy the first 8 measures. Let's just go with 8 measures. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, handy enough. 1, 2, the second, 3, the third, 4th is in the 4th measure, 5th is in the 6th measure, blah, blah, blah. Shift, copy. All right, now that I've copied 8 measures by the command button and the letter C, I click in this box, command letter V, and that's it. Oh, right. Think about it. I created 8 new measures of 3 4 time, and that would be like 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. Yes, 8 measures times 3 beats. When you convert it to 2 4, there's 4 spare measures. Don't worry about it. We've got our 8 measures of this, and that's what I'm looking for. So, all right. Now, here's the deal. We know how to do a few things already. Matter of fact, I'm going to do this briefly just so that we're going to be monkeying with the notes. So I'm just selecting these. I'm hitting delete, select, delete. I don't want you to look at the label and get confused about things. So I've removed all the labels. So here, this is a perfect unison, obviously. Now, if I select the second button, there it is, or the second note, excuse me, what I was saying, and I hold the command button and the up arrow, we go up an octave. La. It's a little quiet. Let me bring it up a bit. Let's see. Will that sound louder? There we go. All right. So that's what the octave, the octave displacement will do. You command down. There you go. Unison becomes an octave. No big deal. All right. Now, right, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. Now, for our purposes, we're going to do this. I'm going to select, and I just want you guys to sort of watch. You can click the buttons along if you like, but this is mostly about watching and learning. So, if you've pasted these 8 measures, select this first one, hold the command button down, select the last one. Oh, wait, I have, shift button. My apologies. All right. Let's move the whole thing up an octave. So, the command button, the up arrow, bam. All right. This will make it easier to see stuff. And it'll be sort of high-pitched. Those of you that prefer cello or bass, my apologies in advance, but oh well. So, now, inversions. This interval right here, from C to D. All right, that goes up. But if I take this note and I move it down an octave, command and arrow down, it's the same note, right? It's just a different octave, that's all. D, D, D. Right? It's the same note. But because we just moved it down an octave, the interval has been inverted. It's been made upside down. Whereas before, it was a second. Now, check this out. D, first, right? E, second. F sharp, third. G, fourth. A, fifth, right? B, sixth. C natural, that would be, C, what am I doing? Did I say F sharp? Dear Lord, so sorry. So there's your 7th right here. All right, from here, that is a 7th, a minor 7th. And this is the cool thing. Here's how you can tell. All right, so. All right, so. D up to C natural. So we had C, D, that was a whole step, and that was a major second, right? From here to here is a minor 7th. Now we're going to pause on that for a second because the big deal here is that if you're ever wondering, whether something is major or minor, it's not only does the octave displacement cause the interval to be inverted, but it causes the quality of the interval to be inverted. Any major interval becomes a minor interval. Now, perfect will stay perfect. I mean, that's just that. Like, for example, if I did an octave displacement, C to C they're both C. So here's octave displacement. Oh, look, it's inverted, but what that just means is that it's an octave. Perfect octave as opposed to perfect unison, but it's the same thing. So over here, perfect stays perfect, but major and minor will flip. And there you go. So from here to here, a whole step, right? And it's like you've stolen a whole step from the entire scale, which means then reverse, a whole step from the minor scale, whole step away from the root note, in this direction, right? Gets you the minor seventh. Same thing applies here. C to E. C, D, E, major third. Take this down an octave, and from here, now that from this low note to this high note, that will be a minor sixth there. So what you've got basically is, with inversions, it's still a cool harmony. It still harmonizes well. It still sounds good. But when you invert it, and it's at a different range, suddenly all the major intervals become minor intervals. They just flip. Now, this is the cool thing too. Check this out. So here we have the note C, and here we have the note F. If you invert this one, so here's your perfect fourth, right? Take this down an octave, and just looking at it visually, in the space, skip a space, space, looks just like the perfect fifth over here. So fourths and fifths, when you invert them, are the same thing. This is why sometimes in bass and cello world, when you're playing something like more in 6th and 7th grade and somewhat in 8th grade, when you're playing like a two-note, like country type of bass line, boom, 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 boom. Occasionally they take you up an octave, boom, 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 instead of bow, bow, bow. But it's the same thing. You just invert it, and it's the same two notes. You go off by a fifth, it's the same as off by a fourth, just in the other direction. That's all. Likewise. So I take this back up here. Or I'm going to leave it right there, actually. Now watch this. C. And right there, for those of you that are not violinists, that's the note G. We invert this, and lo and behold, it's a fourth. 1 in the space, 2 in the line, 3 in the space, 4. That's a perfect fourth right there. Next up, C to A. This is the 6th. Take it down an octave, and visually you can see it's now just a third, right? There's that note. The line between is the second. There's this third right there. So you have from here, do, re, mi, if you will. So that's the minor third. It used to be a major sixth, but we inverted it. You flip major to minor, 6 goes to third. So there you have it. Next up, of course, we have this. There's a root note of C all the way up. This is the major seventh, right? And that brings us to B. Take this B down an octave. The major seventh, nice wide space of a seventh. When it's above, it's a major seventh. But when it's below, you go from this B to the C. You can hear that those two are way closer, right? That's a minor second, as opposed to this, which it's a wild, big space, and it just sounds sort of odd. But here, having it nice and close, you can hear the relation easier. So anyhow, and of course, last but not least, we have from this C to this C, perfect octave. Take it down an octave, and it's a perfect unison, right? No big deal there. Yes, that's right. So, all right. So you've got 7th, 6th, 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd octave, and that's the deal with inversions. All right. And this is the interesting thing. If you have a harmony line written above your melody, it can be inverted and it will still work. And we'll get back to that in a bit. But right now it is time to, I believe it is time to move on to part 2. Oh, I have this habit of charging ahead and skipping my title cards. Ladies and gentlemen, we just concluded part 2, examples of inversions, as seen on the assignment from graded week 3 on intervals. Now, having done that, we move on to the next thing, part 3, parallel thirds and their use in harmony. Now, a lot of folks have worked with parallel thirds. For some of you, it hasn't been since middle school, which, again, for some of you, may have been a long time ago or just last year. Either way, we're going to be working on some parallel thirds right now. So, what I'm going to ask you to do, we're going to close out the other one, and we're going to look at this assignment called 3 related scales. So here we are. All right, so we'll save the changes. I want you to save these changes because we may be messing with some of this stuff later on. Okay, and bip, come on, little O. Oh, so slowly. How many tabs do I have open? All right, my scores. And three related scales. The G major, the E natural minor, the E melodic minor. All right, good deal. So, all right, just as a refresher, so far you've not been asked to do a thing that you need to hand in. It's been listening, it's been learning. I know it's all top down. There's no chance to ask questions in a live setting. I need to figure out a way to make a big fat Google Meet where people can sign in and ask me questions in a live manner. But you need to find a way to be able to videotape that and store that because admin wants to keep track of these things and make sure everything is going smoothly. But right now we have this. All right, so parallel thirds and their use in harmony. So I want you to do this on the G major and 2 E minors. We've got that. All right. So for starters, to give you a sense of how all of this works, we're just going to write on the same dang staff. All right, let's start with the G major. So parallel thirds. If you're going to input a parallel third, one of the neat things about this is if you just sort of hover your mouse over the note, and then this little gray one, you've seen this gray one bopping up and down before, you can tap it in there. Oh, hang on a second. We've got, cello. So it's going to be a little low, a little thick. We can handle it. All right. Oh, wait. I'm going to undo Command Z because if you just click there, it'll give you the same length as what was before. So I right arrow over. Now I can add my thirds. Didn't want to mess with the slur. I like the slur. Let's arrow forward. Can I? There we go. Oh, drat. Oh. Oh, this is tricky. There we go. Oh, hang on. Ah. This is the part, ideally, you could fast forward through if you really need to. How about this? Take a moment, click forward. I'll try to put the timestamp on here. After you get done inputting all this, you click right to it, and I will say, hello and welcome back. In the meantime, and future days, I'll know how to edit my online videos in such a manner. Oh, for God's sake. Wait a minute. Oh, no. For those of you still watching, take it back. The trick is to not tap your cursor anywhere close to the slur sign, if you can help it. like playing Operation. It's my turn to operate. Take out his spare ribs for $300. No. Oh, that was weird. There we go. Okay. Hello and welcome back. So we've inputted all the thirds. I think I figured out how to avoid like clicking and accidentally selecting the slur. Depending on which side of the slur you're on, click to the left and you won't click the slur by accident. Or here, click to the right and you won't click this slur by accident. At any rate, now that I've added parallel thirds, well, here, very straightforward, but hopefully utterly effective harmonic line. Parallel thirds are fantastic for harmonic lines. They're clean, they sound like you know what you're doing. It's a very smooth sound. You don't want to overuse it, but it's pretty darn cool for a lot of things. And we listen. There you have it. So hopefully you have inputted all of this as well. So like I said, select the note head, move your little cursor up, click, bam, there it is. You know, move the note over, move your little cursor up and down to the other side so you're not anywhere near the slur symbol, click, and etc., etc. Okay, so there it is. Now, what I would like you to do is this, and we're going to, yes. We now have to do a couple of different things. All right. We have to add an instrument. Add instrument. Add. I don't have a card for this. Whoa. There we go. For you completists out there, add instrument. It is official. All right. Now, you know, you guys learned how to do this before, so it shouldn't be that big of a deal. So let's see. Parts. There we go. All right. Add part. And bowed strings. And cello. And okay. And this is a harmony line. We're putting it below. Okay. Now that you've added a cello part, yay, good. Now, this harmony line is going to go below our melody. So we're going to start with this. Let's make life easy on ourselves. Instead of inputting every single note and adding all the slurs, we're going to select this first measure here, hold the shift button down, select this last measure here, the command C, copy the whole dang thing, select the first measure. It'll copy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 measures worth of music if you just click the first measure. Command V, bam, we've pasted the entire darn thing, exact unison, right? E is E, F sharp is F sharp, G is G, A is A, B is B, C is C, D is D, E is E, etc. But this is not a harmony part. This is the same dang melody. We're now doubling the melody. But if you recall, if you take your up arrow, it'll move every single note up, one note in the scale. Click it again. It'll move every single note one up in the scale. This, if I select this, well, I've got to select it. If I hit play, it'll start playing here, the first, highlighted measure it's got, and it will sound exactly like this because it's the same notes, just written on two separate lines. And that's all we're doing right now, is creating a separate line of music for the harmony part. Now, you can tell this is not like line 1 of music and then start playing here line 2 of music, because they have this. Every bar line is connecting to two of them. So it tells you sort of this is one musical idea. If you got one line of music by itself, you call it the staff. But if you get 2 or more, 3, 4, 5, 12, whatever, that is called the system. All right, so this is like the first line of music, sure, but you see the first system to mean not like, 1, 2, 3, 4, but the first system, second system, third system. Most people say like third line down, but that can get kind of confusing sometimes. It's a system, that's what it's called, which I have mentioned before in a previous video. So what I want you to do now is this. We've moved this up, we hit play, like I said, and it should sound. Right there. So no, it doesn't sound exactly like this because this was G major and this is E minor. So this is the minor mode version of it. So now the big question is, okay, we've done that. Can we do that here? And the answer is, you sort of can, but that gets complicated because you've got these sharps. So observe. Select this first measure. Hold the shift button down. Select the last measure. Command C for copy. Paste. Up 2 notes, right, from the E up to the F sharp, up to the G. Okay. Yeah, let's do one small thing here. I'm going to remove this because it's already labeled and it just cluttered things up. It's overlapping. See, it's just messy. You don't want that there. All right, so now we've got starting on the E. What I was saying. This is cello. This is starting G. Oh dear Lord. Yeah. G. This is the harmony line. G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, and there's our G. This is a parallel third, right? But remember, in melodic minor, we are sharpening, if you will. We're adding a sharp to 2 notes. All right. So we've got C sharp, D sharp, leading to the note E. So they're not occurring in the same location, right? Our C sharp is here. So shift plus sign, and it's a sharp. All right. Likewise, D gets sharped, and that leads to E. And there's the F sharp is already F sharp because of key signature. And then G. You have to do the same thing here. C sharp, D sharp. And on the way downhill, you'll recall there are no sharps added. All right, now we should hear the melodic minor. These two things will be different, right? This is no longer the same kind of third as you recall, right? Because before, like this note, we have from we go from the note A to C, minor third, and we go from B to D, minor third. But if the note that sounds lower, like for example, just the A to the C sharp, that's going to be a major third. All right, from the note B to D sharp, major third. We raised the parallel third above. Over here, we're raising the parallel third below. Now here's the thing, the parallel third is all above here. I should have perhaps put the root note in the B part, but we're writing harmony lines here. Anyhow, take a listen. So, still a minor, but this melodic minor gives you some extra flavor climbing uphill. Kind of cool. You'll get the difference if we hear it first natural minor and then melodic minor back to back. Now, to my ears, it's kind of static. Listen to this. It has a bit more of the creepy drama you associate with some really good Baroque classical music. At any rate, so there you have that. Now, remember my previous comment about how the A line up here is the root note and the B line below it is actually the parallel third? This note will sound higher than this. This violates a fundamental rule of composition, or at least, I don't know about a fundamental rule, but like a good arrangement will have the higher notes and the higher written parts. So how do we solve that? I'm going to take this up an octave. because as you recall, this is now below. And the way to make this, instead of below the harmony note, to make it above the harmony note, up octave. Okay. Still kind of weird to look at, all those letter lines, but it will sound different. All right, so as a reminder, here's what we just listened to. And so forth. Now, take it. So we have now inverted the interval. And the high note here is now the root note of the chord, and the bass part is playing a third above it, which should normally be down here. So you can hear it still sounds cool. It's not quite as clustered as it was before. It's a little more wider, a little more spacious, and it sounds good. So, you know, parallel thirds will work. And keep in mind that if parallel thirds work, you invert this and you get parallel sixths. And they work because of the same dang thing as thirds, just off by an octave. Bam. So there you have it. Now that you've heard all this and you can hear what I'm talking about and you've written it all out, and notice that a lot of this was just copying and pasting, right? You're all set. You've got an original part, you know, copy it, paste it, move things around. Accidentals here instead of here, right? Because this is where C sharp and D sharp are if you're a cellist or a bassist. So keeping the accidentals in the appropriate location. Invert. I want you to invert so that when I see this and this, I will see parallel sixths instead of parallel thirds. That is the goal, okay? And I'm going to add up here your new title with thirds and sixths. Well, that's kind of complicated, let's say. With parallel harmony, we'll say parallel harmony. With proper title, with parallel harmonies. All right. Now then, this much title. Adding an instrument, drawing parallel thirds in on one line, one staff by itself. These 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 measures should all be blank. Here, the natural minor, straight parallel thirds, no big deal, no big deal, no big deal. Or excuse me, parallel sixths, parallel sixths. What am I saying? The inversion thereof. E melodic minor. So with the harmony line, accidentals go here and here, not here and here. And you take it all the way back down. All right, so far so good. What you can do, you can take a screenshot of this. There's got to be a way to make this smaller. Page view. No, strip view, page view. We don't want that. Where is my? There's got to be a place where I can make this smaller. I'm not seeing it. We're stuck. So, score details guide. I will research this. Maybe we can just do like some sort of hold the command button down and like. Okay, hang on. Oh, select nothing. Aha. All right. Make sure that your cursor is not on anything, not on a measure, not on a note head. Click off of the whole. No. First, click nothing on the page. Little white margins there. Just click away, get it away from it, and then Command minus, and you will shrink up your screen. Everything gets smaller. These get smaller too, which is sort of annoying. But right now, this gives you something that you can fit all in one page. You hold, if you were on a Mac, you Shift Command the 4, and this pointer. There we go. I can now just sort of highlight this. It'll make a little clickety-click sound. Yes, picture has been taken. And here's an example of it in miniature. It'll download to my desktop, and bam, I'll have a picture that I can upload to Google Classroom. So once you have done that, then let's get back to all this. Inversions applied. There we go. This would be the 3 scales with parallel harmonies. Font from a previous experiment. That's called Chickle. I don't want Chickle. Let's see. Is it? No, it's not that. All right, calling it good. So inversions, you're going to title it with parallel harmonies. It's due on Tuesday. And then next up, part 5 is harmonizing a melody. Now this is mostly going to be parallel thirds, but it is not totally parallel thirds and inversions. There's a little something else. But here's what we're going to do. Okay, harmonizing a melody, parallels and inversions, due Friday. See you next frame for details. First, just parallel thirds. Okay, so close out of this. Oh wait, save. Always save your materials. We're going to close out of this. My scores. And open up the other one. About intervals. All right. So here it all is. Okay. First things first, we're going to add an instrument. Parts. Now this is back to violin. Add part, add bowed string, add violin. Violas, I'm coming back to you guys. We'll have alto clef again, but not quite yet. Now, suppose someday in the future you want to write a part, you want to make very sure that everybody knows this is the first violin, this is the second violin. You can click right there. Oh no, hang on. Oh, there's the pencil mark. Sorry. Click right here. Name violin 1. Abbreviation VN space. And you hit OK and ping. Violin 1. Violin 1. There's the abbreviation VN.1. How about that? Change the name of this one. Violin Roman numeral 2, always known as II. Abbreviation. Okay. Bam. And that is that. Let's close this out. We know what we got. So we know our first violin part, second violin part. All good so far. All right. Now we're going to focus our attention on the section here at letter A. All right. Starting right here, we have a melody. All right. We're in C major, no sharps, no flats, C major, and we are going to follow this melody. As I recall, yes, I ended on. I'm going to do this. I'm going to turn this into a half note. It's the right bracket. I'm breaking my own rule, but we can stretch a little bit. Okay, just nothing more than a half note. So for starters, select the whole darn line. Shift button. Copy. Select the first measure. Again, you don't have to select all these. It'll just paste over whatever's there, which in our case is just rests. Paste. Now, I'm going to do this. I should have done this before, actually, now that I think about it. We remove all of the interval labels. These are intervals between 2 notes in order, right? This one to this one to this one to this one, etc., right? But that's not the interval I'm worried about nowadays. I want to look at the other form, not a melodic interval, but a harmonic interval, which is to say between this note and this note. All right? Right now there is no interval. It's the same dang note. So select, hold the shift button down, select. All right, so we've got 2 melodies, exact same thing. Here's an idea. How about this? Shift, bit. Let's get it right this time. All right. Now, for educational purposes, I copied into the B line and put the parallel third there. But let's not stick with that. Let's move this up bip, bip. The higher of the two parts is now written on the upper line. For those of you who are not violinists, this is the note C, that's middle C, and right here is the note E, first finger on the D string. All right, so we have parallel thirds, but the third above is written above. How about that? So, and it's going to sound like this. Now keep in mind, this is no longer just a melody, or there's no longer just like a scale. The scale sounded great going uphill in parallel thirds. All I've done is simply taken the whole dang melody, copied it, moved it up parallel to a third above. Depending on which two notes we're talking about, it could be a major third or a minor third, which gives the thing some flavor. It's not so static, right? So when I hit play, if everything has gone according to plan, this will sound kind of decent. And I'll hit stop before we get to B. All right, so not bad, not bad. You know, no great shakes, but you know, immediately we've got a harmony we can work with, and that's kind of cool. Now, here's the thing. Once you've listened to your melodic exercise, then it's time to do something else. All right, let me do this right here. Now, that's right, this is 5A, and this is 5B. Adjusting the harmony line, using inversions and possibly changing a third to a fourth. Why? Because it might not sound right yet. So here's the thing. If it doesn't sound right, then we must adjust, which means it is crucial that we listen to the dang thing, which we just did. Now, inversions. If the harmony line sounds great the way it is, wonderful, leave it. But suppose there's a place where you have like some leap, and this is only like not a very big leap, fifth, big deal. Let me think. So, what if all right, what if this, oh, come on. All right, so there we go. So what if this was much more of a leap, all right? And then this was the parallel third above it. So for those of you non-violinists, this is D, E, D, all right? Whereas this is F, G, F. And now we'll have this parallel line. All right, and stop. So here's the deal. The melody by itself may have been fine, but that's kind of a leap there. If you have a place where they leap like that, or a place where just the contour of the line gets kind of high, what you want to do, or what I'm asking you to do, if you find a place where there's like a massive leap in another chunk of melody, is to take a reasonable selection of notes, click here, and I'm going to say till like here. These three notes, they're kind of high range, right? And the parallel third above this note, above this line, excuse me, makes for an extreme leap. Just invert that fistful of notes that goes really high. Leave the melodic line where it is. This harmony will still work simply because we've gone from parallel thirds to parallel sixths. All right? This is what I mean. For non-violinists, here's what we have. This is the note F. This is the note D. So F, G, that's G, A, B, C, D. It's a sixth, right? Sixth note above. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's the same note as right there. So we have a brief parallel sixth, right? And the thing is that major sixth turns into minor sixth turns into major sixth. It'll sound fantastic. Now, let's try this. We now dodge that weird leap up into the air for just a brief bit. Works for me. So there you have it. Now, if you've done that, then I want you to, let's go, select this, and just so I don't have to go searching through this myself all over the place. Once you selected the first note that you inverted, remember we inverted the stretch right here, I want you to input some text. Now that is going to be the command button. Oh, no, I take it back. Just the capital letter T. Text. INV, period. The inversion starts here. And now I know. When I'm looking at this, I'll say inv, and I'll be like, aha, right over this note. So I said, oh yes, there's that octave leap right there from what would have been here down up there. Da, 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 da. Yes, wonderful. So there's one of it. All right, that's one of the things I'm looking for. Next up, this is more subtle. Possibly changing a third to a fourth. Now, let's see. Now, one of the odd things about strictly parallel thirds is that if you stay on specific notes, then like the harmony line, if you're strictly doing parallel thirds, will stay exactly a third above that. And that might not work in the chord. So for example, if I hear I'm in C major and I play the fifth note of the scale, C, D, E, F, G, right? G, A, B, a third above that is B, the seventh scale degree, the leading tone. This leads back up to the root note of C. And that's the problem. Because if you end a piece and you say, I'm in C major, but then the last chord you play has no C's being played, and in fact has the note that's only a half step away from it, it's not going to sound right. All right. As an example of that, let's see. So we've got C and E. Suppose, and this is E and let's see. Yeah, okay, so here we go, So we're in C major, C, D, E, F, G, there's, the 5, and there's 7, but I've inverted it. It will be a weird ending to this. Give it a listen. The end. Do you see what I mean? It's a cool chord suggested by those two notes, but it's not the final note. And that's why if you're doing a harmony and your melody is actually landing on the fifth note, you'll get a parallel third of a seventh, and that will sound squirrely. So yes, we're in the key of C major, C, D, E, F, G. We want the harmony of G, G. Now here's the thing. Here it actually does work. Doesn't sound weird at all. But sometimes you can actually move one of these around. And there we go. That's what I'm looking for. So yeah. And the harmony will still work if you change that seventh scale degree, the B, up to a C. It can also work. It's not required, but it's kind of a cool thing. Here's two of them back to back. Let's try this one. Oh, no. There we go. Give this a listen starting from here. It's almost a little Celtic lilt. Listen to that again. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So find a spot where your melody is in the 5, in this case G. And then instead of the harmony being only a third above it, make it a fourth above it. That's what I'd like you to do. Once you've done that, click here. Oh, no, yeah. And where is my just plain old T for text? And write down fourth to indicate this is a place where the third became a fourth. Okay? And let's see. If everything sounds fine, then click the first note. And where's my pencil? Click the first note and just type in, let's see, T, nothing needed adjusting. Now keep in mind, if I glance through here and I find some spot, there's this like massive leap of 6th or 7th or something like that, I'll say, what? You could have inverted that. So don't just write nothing needs adjusting and say, done. because I'm not going to buy it. I'm going to look around and find places where it will make sense. If nothing else, there should be at least one of these where you've moved the 5th and the 7th. All right. And label it 4th because it's a 4th apart. So once you've done that, back up to here, colon, with harmony. Click out of there. Do the screenshot. Shift Command 4 if you are an Apple person. There we go. And you don't have to get the whole screen because honestly, the bit that we did that I'm concerned about is just the first 3 systems. In this case, up to letter B. I don't need anything past letter B. That was just for educational purposes, as you recall. So, bam, screenshot. It is waiting for me right here. And life is good. Once you've got that done, that will be due on Friday. So the recap. Inversion is what they are. We covered that. Parallel thirds, a bit of a refresher. Inversions applied to a scale. That's due Tuesday. Step 1 of the harmonizing, we harmonized the melody with parallel thirds strictly. Then we adjusted the parallel thirds occasionally. Stretch where there's an inversion. Definitely at least one spot where you've changed the parallel third to a non-parallel 4th. And remember to label the adjustments. And that one is due Friday. There you have it. All right. And my session times are on Tuesdays from 10 to 11 and 11 to noon. And at noon, I have a meeting with my fellow music teachers at the middle school, so I will not be able to answer questions if you submit something at like 12:05. I'll be busy chatting with somebody else, unfortunately. My next regular sessions, when you can guarantee you're going to get a response from me, are on Friday from 1 to 2 and 2 to 3, which, as I've mentioned before, is pushing it. Please get it in. Get a draft of it in. Get something in. I stop in on Tuesdays and Wednesdays and sort of poke around and see who's got what in. And I'll give you feedback. I will. It'll be like in the moment on my 2 official slots on Tuesday and Friday. But you know, the rest of the days, you know, I'll stop in, I'll take a look and send something back to you. So get it in, get it on time. Life is good. Adios.